transliterated into Greek comes out Saduki. Or as we, Saduki. Or as in English, because if you have a CE, it becomes a S in English. It was not in, look at the Greek, it's still a K. It's a Sadoki. Someone who follows the line of Tzadok. Also in the Hebrew language, this word can be translated that way. Because in the spelling, there really not any difference that you can distinguish between an I and a U or an O. In fact, also O is the same. That's really confusing, like that. Because you can't tell doubled letters in Hebrew, or in Arabic for that matter, without the diacritical points. And you can't tell vowels very often, one from another. Well, that's really confusing. You say, yeah, Hebrew and Arabic and these languages, Semitic languages, were the basis of what became shorthand. And that's how they developed shorthand for stenographers. We don't use shorthand that much anymore, and people don't learn it, but 50 years ago, shorthand was a must for all secretaries because they had to take down the dictation of their bosses. Now everyone has a computer, so the boss writes his own letter and corrects it. Or he gets the secretary maybe to type it for him, but then he has to dictate it. She has to take it down in shorthand because she can't write as fast as he speaks. But if you don't have vowels, then you can to some extent. So the Hebrew, and how do they read them? You have to know the language orally before you can read it. And that's what makes learning languages of this kind so difficult. You have to know the language orally. Then you fill in the missing things. So like if I know English orally and I see I say, oh God, what's that mean? Oh, the boy went to the store. You have to know the language and the context to know what it's saying. Because you've only got the vowels and you've only got the consonants in there. So, that's confusing. Yeah, it's very confusing. That's why so many mistakes are made in translation and transliteration. That's why you get different, like Sadducee, when it could be Sadiq, someone who follows a righteous person, Sadiki, or it could be a Tzadoki with only one D. And only oral transmission will tell you if it's two Ds or one D or something. Have I made that clear to you? So the establishment in the New Testament of the by the way, if someone remembers on their way out of here and feels like we're wiping this stuff off so that other guy doesn't get all upset, I would be doing us a service if you feel like doing this. I'm psychologically unable to erase what I've just written on a board. In my world, professors' words were sacrosanct. They didn't erase them afterwards. So someone else can go erase. I'll erase the next guy's, but I won't erase my own. And it's just something that's a psychological thing, So since that guy's a bit of a nervous Nelly, if anyone feels the urge to say walk out of here just to erase it, you'd be doing us both a service. But don't kill yourself. You're not going to get any brownie points for doing it. If you don't want to do it, don't bother. So you just have to deal with it. But I'm not going to deal with it. So it's just a courtesy. Professors were supposed to be like in places like East Coast universities. Professors were really supposed to have had stature. They weren't like groundskeepers or janitors. Einstein wouldn't go and erase his board. That would be like a total insult. He would be blah, 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 and then he'd be out the door and all this gobbledygook could be on the blackboard. He was going to go back and erase it. That's not for him to do. So it's just a matter of it's just a matter of snobism there, how you see yourself. So we'll have to decide how Cal State Long Beach looks upon its faculty. In any event, I try to teach my kids respect for their father. I don't get very far either. So, get on that one. But this is is the establishment pictured in the New Testament, the Pharisees and the Sadducees. We all know them, but we don't know how they got to be where they are, and we don't know who they are. They got to be where they are because after 37 BC, Herod would not allow anyone who was not of the accommodating mindset to be part of the establishment. And Josephus is very clear, he killed the whole previous establishment except for two people, two Pharisees, who had already ingratiated themselves to him by predicting in a prophetical way his future kingship and telling the people not to try him in a trial that they wanted to do when he was governor of Galilee. And two, these people, same two Pharisee teachers, the founders of rabbinic Judaism to be, told the people in 37 BC to open the gates to Herod. That is, don't resist him. Non-resistance to evil, Jesus Christ. Did the people obey the Pharisee teaching? No, they didn't. They resisted Herod and paid the price. Roman assault on Jerusalem in 37, after the two Roman assaults on Jerusalem, both helped by Pharisees. Now that's something in Judaism that the rabbis don't teach you. They don't teach you that the Pharisees were basically Roman, Herodian, what is a common word to use? Lackeys, thank you, lackeys. And, you know, doesn't, when you tell them that, I've had a chat with a guy from Orthodox Judaism just the other day. It doesn't make any impression on them. They're so addicted to these people as wonderful human beings that they can't see any defects in them either. Just like I see a defect in the Gospels, I see a defect in the rabbinical things. It's just a matter of looking at it on an objective view if you feel that you can do that. If you're not willing to do that, then you're not a historical-minded person. You're just a religious practitioner, which is fair enough. I mean, if you're doing things for spiritual uplift, why criticize anything? See, there's two different approaches, and people confuse them. University is going to criticism. So those people who want spiritual uplift don't need to criticize anything. All they're looking for is the good things, and so that's all they get out of it, all the good things. But they don't look for any of the defects, the enthusiasts. So unfortunately, I'm the opposite kind of person. I look for all the defects because I don't like to be conned. I don't like, for instance, the Dan Rather conning me with some stupid piece of paper that a fifth grader could have seen was a fake.